it off there. It's wet. Put it in. You might want to put it in. That's fine.
You ready?
I'm ready.
I'm Scott.
And I'm Don.
And we're talking real estate. Happy tax day. Just kidding. The federal government gave you a break on tax day and pushed it back 3 months. I mean, they had to. I'm not going to say that's a solid date. You never know. That might move back. We just wanted to accentuate a positive. Today is not tax day, really.
Hey, you know, speaking of that, usually you pay your taxes, but now you might be getting money now.
It's
From
different.
the federal government. Isn't that something?
It's different. Sign of the crazy times that we live in, right? So,
Absolutely.
guys, we have a great show for you today. First thing we'd love you to do again, as you sign on, let us know in the comments what town you're, what city you're popping in from. That would be great. If you're coming from Woodhaven, way up in Grand Blanc, over in Battle Creek, where are you? A buddy of mine sent me a message this week. He said, you know, Battle Creek, which I sold my house in Battle Creek, he says, Battle Creek is really underrepresented in your show, so I want to make sure. Give a shout out to Kevin and Stephanie out in Battle Creek, all right? So we got your name out there.
Where's your coat at? It's kind of cold out here. I wanna
You
see my
know,
butt.
Don, you know I don't wear coats.
Yeah,
See,
you're right.
you know I. Somebody see the tie. We promised you, Don Lawrence will be wearing a tie today. Let's see. All right. No more sissy stuff. No more April Fool's business. I'm going to wear a polo. He's going to wear a shirt and tie. That's how it is.
We're back to normal.
All right. So the first topic we got today for you is just a sign of the times. A look at the market. So, Don, tell us what you got.
Well, so we got an update from last week. A few things that have happened. That's happened and that since the last time we talked about them, discussed them. One of them is FHA mortgages and the credit. Some of the lenders have increased their credit score to minimum of 660. But that's lender specific. So depending on the lender, it's going to
Right, because I heard all kinds of stuff. I heard like Chase Mortgage is way over on this side, throwing up way up high with the credit score number.
Yes, absolutely. JP Morgan Chase has increased their conventional mortgages to a 20% down or more and a 700 credit score. So
Conventional you're talking about there.
conventional loan, though. It's not FHA, but the whole point in all this is things are changing. It's more important now to shop for a mortgage and talk to more lenders, or make sure whoever you're working with, you trust implicitly that they're giving you the best deal.
So you're talking like a man smoking. Shop around, baby. Shop around when you're shopping for mortgages. All right. So what else you got? Yeah, no kidding. I've been on a Motown kick because I've been in quarantine, buddy. So what else you got for us?
So we talked about mortgages. The next thing is forbearance. We want to really, really reiterate this again. That forbearance is not, it's not forgiveness or forgiving the loan or anything, or the payments for a certain amount of time. Make sure you know what you're doing if you do have to do that.
Right. So I think, and I remember because we talked about this actually in a couple of Zoom calls with some lenders and things like that. So forbearance, again, for folks that aren't sure about it, it basically is putting your payments on hold till a later date. All right. But you got to understand a couple things, at least from my understanding where we're at with it now. It means let's say you did 6 months of payments. Like they let you, some are doing 3, some are doing up to 6. So this day, 6 months, and 1 day, they're expecting that 6 months worth of house payments, yes?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
So
Total payment.
if you're in a huge crunch and you got to do it, okay, but just be careful. Be very, 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 very careful with forbearance. We talked about the same thing last week as far as our opinion on it. Just be careful with it.
Yeah. And you're also doing it on student loans. My son has a student loan, and they're giving him until September. But fortunately, he's still working and he can pay it off, continue paying it. So that's good. But look at your student loans. Yeah, it could be an issue too that they're giving forbearance, but make sure you understand what's going on.
Okay. What else?
Next up, we were talking about the federal government. Usually, you have to pay the federal government at this time of the year. They're sending out stimulus checks now. My son got his today. Wondering if you got your, did you receive yours yet?
So this is a huge thing because I'm very curious. And again, we're not being political here. We're just part of the market is what's happening with people as far as how are they being helped and things like that in this crazy time that we're in. So put in if you feel comfortable, put in if you got your stimulus check or not. I'm just curious to see how the feds, how fast they're moving with stuff. Because I heard unemployment, they're moving slow, boy.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so put, I got mine. Throw a big thumbs up or something like that. Because I'm just curious. Again, not something, we don't want to dig into people's privacy, but we're just curious to see how fast these stimulus checks are getting there. So,
So next up is a small business loan, the economic injury disaster loan, and this is for self-employed people, independent contractors, and you could get a loan or grant from $1,000 up to $10,000.
Yeah. So, but let's do this. Let's. As I keep people using the word loan, my understanding is it's a grant you have to pay back, right?
On that one, I don't think you have to.
Right.
You
So we
have to
can't call it a
qualify.
loan. We got to call it a
Right,
grant.
but they call it a loan.
I know.
the
That's what I
weird
mean,
thing,
which is
right?
weird. So
that's in the term. So I think that if there's an option for them to call it as a loan, that they may do that if you don't qualify down the road. If you give fake information or false information at the beginning, they may want it back. It's not
okay.
free
And
loan.
so, folks, think about this for a minute. And independent contractors are a ton of people. The guy that cuts the grass can be an independent contractor. A biller at a medical company can be an independent contractor. When I first started coaching, I wasn't teaching. I was an independent contractor. That could be a bazillion people. Okay, that's another way. Again, some people aren't going to get the stimulus check, right? So that's just, and what's it? EIBL, is that what it's called?
EIDL.
Okay. So just a couple things to think about as far as money coming in. What else you got?
Economic injury disaster loan.
Yep.
And another update is private inspections. A buyer can accompany the private inspector as long as it's okay with the private inspector and it's okay with the sellers when they secure a home. Before, the idea was that the buyer could not even see the house until after they close on the property.
Right. And so, and like we talked about last week too, to my knowledge, most cities are not doing city inspections that
Right.
sellers need. So realize that most cities are not doing them at this point in time.
But it's going to have to be done at some point.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so there's a lag there when you secure a house now. It's going to be a while before you close it.
Right, so that's a sign of the times, folks. That's kind of what's new, new information. And again, it's updating every single day. I think I was on like 3 or 4 Zoom calls yesterday with these lenders and this freaking guru about real estate, and everybody had. So it's fluctuating all the time. So those kind of things we're just throwing out there because we want to help you in every way that we can.
And we're trying to keep you updated. We're staying updated. We want you to stay updated as well.
Right. So the second segment of the show is what we're going to call "This Might Be Your Time." Okay. I talked to one lender pretty extensively Tuesday, and he brought this idea to me as far as being creative with what you can use this for, and not trying to make light of people that are suffering and struggling. I'm not doing that, but if you have a little bit of equity in your house, let's say you have an FHA loan, okay, this might be your time to switch out to a conventional loan, okay? And like we talked about, I think we talked about this before on the show, to get you out of mortgage insurance. Like if you have a decent amount of equity in your house, get the value checked. I mean, reach out to Don or myself and we'll check the value for it, and then go to your mortgage guy and go, hey, look I have this much equity in my house. That number is always weird to me. It's never like 20%. It's always like 23% or some weird number like that. So something to think about, because you want to get rid of mortgage insurance as much as possible. And I was talking to one lender. He said, get a conventional loan with lender paid mortgage insurance, right? So that's extra money. He said that could save you like $200 doing that.
Yeah, and you can apply that to the principal.
Right. So if you got an FHA loan, then maybe that's just a call your lender. Ask them.
Yep.
Ask, hey, can I switch this out to a conventional? And what do I got to do? I mean, what kind of cost will it be to me? But I heard that a lot from the one guy, from the one gentleman that we know. So other things to think of. It might be your time to become an investor. I had a gentleman reach out to me on Facebook yesterday, and he said to me, he says, I'm just looking, because I was looking at his I do a portal for him so you can see his homes, his listings in his area. He said, I'm just looking for low-hanging fruit. Like if you're an investor, maybe folks are trying to dump rental properties and things like that. So this might be your time. You might be in a position where you could, kind of make some money off this. And again, I'm not making light of folks that are struggling. I really am not doing that. So please don't misconstrue. Just saying, some people it might be their time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And there may be somewhere an advantage for somebody to be able to take advantage of that if they have the financial backing to do that. So no, it's a good thing.
So I want to put this out there because I see like 4 comments from different people in the feed here that Chris Bergeron had nothing to do with me wearing a coat or not wearing a coat. She told me for 45 years I should say, to wear a coat every single day. She still tells me to put a coat on. So Chris Bergeron did not fail in teaching her son how to wear a coat. I just don't wear them.
Is that from your mom?
Yeah. No, it's not from my mom.
Oh, okay.
It's from different people, Jim Rablaski and so. There all kinds of different people saying, "Man, you should have wore a coat. You should have." I don't wear them, guys. I think maybe it's probably I lost them when I was little a lot, and I just don't get cold very often. So, yeah. So that's that.
Fish don't get cold either.
Really, fish? That's the best you got for
That's
me?
the best I got.
All right, so let's talk City Spotlight, but I want to share with the viewers where we're thinking of going with this next.
We are going west. We're going west.
Oh, no. I'm talking about when the
when
COVID lifts. You remember this?
No.
All right, I'm going to tell them. So we are planning to, when COVID-19 is over and the shelter in place is done, we're planning on taking the show on the road to a restaurant in the city, Spotlight City. So we'll probably release the city out to you early during the week, and you guys can let us know what restaurants we should be contacting. I already got the first one, and I'll bring it up later in the show. I already got the first one, and I'll tell you a cool story about that. Okay? So the city Spotlight is, Don?
Garden City.
Garden City?
Garden City, Michigan.
Tell me about Garden City.
Garden City, Michigan. Currently, it's a nice small community west of Dearborn.
Yep.
We all probably know where that's
Mitchell
at.
Zadell, if you're on the show, you just bought one in Garden City from us. So yeah, go on.
Currently on the market are 38 homes,
Okay.
and the price range is $70,000 all the way up to $239,900.
Okay, $239.9 in Garden City, hey? Okay.
There's some newer construction in Garden City.
Closer to Westland, you think, or what? Or no?
Could be, yeah.
Okay.
Kind of near Ford Road, off Ford Road, near Middlebelt, maybe Merriman.
So, folks, I want you to hear that number again. Tell them what's the actives again.
38.
So there's 38. So that number's getting smaller, and we're going to address that later in the show. But just realize that the market, the inventory is shrinking again. So what do you got for pendings?
Pending, currently under contract, 44.
Okay, so houses that are under contract. So those houses that were active are jumping into that pending category, meaning people are finally. And you know what? I heard this. This is weird. Okay, I got a lot of people that I've heard just from different realtors that we know. Their people went and looked at a house before this thing started, and they circled back to it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Right, like so they went to this house, you know, in Garden City or into Dearborn or wherever, and they saw it. And they didn't really. It was okay, but now they circled back to it again. So that's an interesting thing to me that people are doing that.
Interesting. Yep.
Because usually you see it, you want it. You know, usually people are like, you see it, you want it.
But people still have to move. So if they have to make that decision to make a move, they got to do what they have to do to make it happen.
So I want to give a couple quick shout outs to my man Tommy Wentz on Allen Park and Coach Jeff Kelsey, who's watching the show today. He's taking a break from all the hard, crazy work he's been doing in our house. He's watching the show today. So, what do you got for souls, Don?
So let's go back to average sales.
Yeah.
Average price is $138,000. Average sales price.
So $140,000 in Garden City, eh?
Not bad, yeah.
1,000 square feet. That's not bad.
1116, I think the square.
Okay, 1116. Okay,
So a little bit over.
Yeah, so that's not bad. That's not bad at all. So 140 for $1,100 or for 1,100 square foot in Garden City. Okay.
So here's an interesting thing. So in the last 30 days, we've been going through this stay at home for approximately 30 days now, right?
Yeah. But here's the thing: if you, and I know we're using Facebook, but if you read Facebook or if you look out in social media or in the world or even just the news, you would think we've been in this house for 2 months. Like the number just keeps getting bigger.
Yeah.
It's been 30. We've been locked down for 30 days.
30 days, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
in these 30 days, 21 homes have closed.
No kidding. It's almost a home a day
Yeah.
in Garden City.
Yeah.
I mean, roads.
Yes.
Okay.
And with everything slowing down, coming to a halt, things are still happening. Slower, at a much slower pace, but they're still happening. It's still possible. So if you have to make the move, we can make it happen.
Right, and again, it's stuff like we talked about this a couple shows ago. I think now they're doing stuff like virtual open houses, and Don and I were kind of excited about that because it almost puts like a personal tour by the seller who knows all the nooks and crannies, not yourself kind of wandering, not sure. And then two, all the stuff's usually contingent on going through the house 48 hours after this thing's lifted, right?
Right.
So even if you're a buyer, so it can happen. All right. Again, I still have a little bit of mixed feelings about it, about buying homes, not sight unseen and stuff like that. And I know every time I say that, I get a bunch of people in the comments. I bought my house sight unseen. I sold my house sight unseen. All that stuff. I just have a hard time with that. It's a tough one for me.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
yeah,
But I can see how it happens, and it's It's
Well,
all good.
if you,
It's all
well,
good.
if you got to move, so if you got to move, you got to move, right? Or if like your job moves or something like that, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So far we told you the sign of the times. We want to let you know that this could be the time for you to swoop in and do something great. And the city spotlights Garden City. So the next one we want to talk about being ready.
For what? Being ready for what?
Well, being ready for what's coming. Okay, what's coming once this is lifted. And again, we can't. I mean, I'm a crystal ball, but every single source, whether in print, in digital, or meetings that we've had with different groups and things like that. Because we've talked to, I don't know about you guys, but Zoom has been like my best friend in the whole world this past 3 weeks. I Zoom this, I Zoom that, I Zoom these people, I Zoom this, had this meeting, talk to these. It's like it's almost like information overload a little bit. But
Zoom every day.
it's Zoom. It's more.
Who's Zooming who?
I had Zoom.
Who's Zooming who?
Listen, I had 4 Zooms on Tuesday. Right, 4 different Zooms. I was like, maybe I put the Zoom down for a day.
I had two's enough.
Yeah. So, my man Kevin Faulkner, the greatest inspector in the history of inspections. I see you, buddy. Sorry, I had to throw that out there. I saw you. All right. So, when we're talking about being ready, we gave you a little bit of advice about being ready, but here we want to kind of go in depth and talk about what we think is going to happen once this thing is lifted, right? So, you've been staring at your 4 walls for. I mean, I talked to my mom on the phone. I caught her sneaking out and driving around to get something to eat. I caught her on the way here to see you, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, I've seen my 4 walls for, I've been staring at this house for a week now." So you've been staring at people are staring at their walls for 4 weeks. It gets to be a little much.
Absolutely.
So that's going to be part of the effect. The other part is inventory was low. It's been low for like 2 years, right?
Yes.
The inventory's
Low
been low.
2-3
And
years.
realize when we say inventory is low, here's what that means to you. That means that's what drives price. Okay?
Oh.
If inventory is low, price starts doing this. Like I'll give you a couple examples. I had 2 properties in the last 2 or 3 months. One's going to close hopefully next week. That's what I'm hoping. I never thought, and I told sellers that I didn't think they would get price that we put it at. And because of low inventory, it happened. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh my God, it's amazing to me. So we had low inventory for already 2 years. We're talking about how many actives are out there, and they're getting 38 Garden City. So the inventory is driving even further down.
Yes, there's lots coming on the market.
Right. So a couple of things, like I said, we're going to have. You've been around your 4 walls. We feel like there's going to be a humongous surge once this thing gets lifted.
Right after everything goes back to normal that we can tell, it looks like it's going to be there's going to be a big surge. And how long will that last? How many houses will come on the market? How many buyers are waiting? That pent up demand. It's going to be an interesting time very soon.
Well, so we were talking about this today in our early morning meeting today. I started telling people that I care about. I go, look, when this thing lifts, I'm probably going to be working 7 to 7 or 6 to 12, or I'm going to be working around the clock because that's what's going to happen. I mean, everybody that's been sitting waiting, seller, right? I got sellers that I talk to once a week or so, and they're just like, I'm waiting, I just can't wait. That's driving people crazy. So once this thing lifts, it's going to get to the point where people are just going to be like, oh my God, and it's going to be wildfire. So, Don, what kind of effects do you think that's going to have on different things like price and multiple offers? What's going to happen there? What do you think?
I think both those things are going to happen. Multiple offers and prices are going to go up some. But even unless it's a all cash sale, you still have to deal with the appraisal. So it has to be worth what a buyer's paying for.
Yeah.
So it's really important that, you can get somebody to pay a lot for it, but if there's a mortgage involved, it could be an issue.
Yeah, and that's always a crapshoot. Appraisal, when stuff starts cranking up at multiple offers, that's always a crapshoot.
Right.
But I think things that people need to do to be ready, right? 1, do the best you can to maintain your credit or work on it. And again, we know these are trying times. Trust me, we know. Okay? But do the best you can to make sure that your credit score is in a place where you can get a good conventional loan. Because again, we talked about this before too. FHA is down here, okay, usually, and then your conventional is here and cash is here. So you want to get in the best light as you possibly can.
What do you mean the FHA? What do you
Well,
mean by
because
that?
so conventional,
Explain that to them.
yeah, sure. So conventional doesn't have an inspector that goes and tells you about repairs you got to do. FHA does, right? That's 1. 2, they're putting a little bit down, right? So it makes they're less desirable of a buyer for a seller.
Not as strong.
Right. So first thing you got to do is do the best you can. If you're thinking about buying, get your credit score in line. I had a young man reach out to me yesterday. He's going to buy out in Washtenaw County, and they're going to use the Mishta program. So he was already taking. If you take a down payment, if you do a down payment assistance like Mishta, you got to do a class for it. So I sent him the class stuff. He's working on the class stuff already.
Awesome. Is that with Mike?
Yeah. It's with Mike. It's my mom's neighbor a couple doors down. Her son, I coached him too. So yeah. So
we're going to talk about Mishta down the road somewhere. We'll explain that more in detail because there's a lot of good information there as well.
Absolutely. So that's a big first thing is making sure that credit's where it needs to be. As far what do you see as far as? I mean, we talked about projects at home, right? Mm-hmm. We talked about a bunch of projects at home. I know that it's getting really tight to get stuff for projects at home. I've been hearing all kinds of wild stories about that kind of stuff, Home Depot and stuff like that. So, things you can do. It's funny, I got a text from a friend of mine today who was inspired to really deep clean her house, like part of her house. Beth Welkenbach, I want to give you a big shout out for sending this out to us. The Instagram account you want to take a look at is called Go Clean Co. So GoCleanCo. Go Clean Co. And it's in, I want to say it's in Canada, but they have all kinds of secret cool tips of how to get stuff clean. She was raving about it. She got a tip from somebody that she knew, and like she said, I mixed a bunch of stuff together and I went in my bathroom and I cleaned it up. It was amazing. So that's one thing that you still can do. I mean, painting, if you can get your hands on some paint, I know, again, it's a hot commodity these days. We're doing my living room. We might do the show from there next week because it's going to look fancy. So, but definitely cleaning things up. Right now, today's cold. Who
wanted to go outside? Who wanted to go outside?
It's cold.
But it's going to, I looked at the next week's weather. It's going to start warming up. But we know it's that time of year where it's going to start. Sun's going to be out longer.
Yeah.
It's going to be warmer. It's going to be nicer to be outside. You won't have to look at the four walls as much. So doing just regular yard work will make a huge difference.
Yeah, so but the point being, you got to be ready. Because it's going to be, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be, on the buy side, it's going to be running from house to house, multiple offer stuff. So you got to make yourself, if you're buying, you are making that move to buy, upgrade, then you got to be ready. You got to make sure you're the best looking buyer there ever was. Okay? Not me. I mean, I got a mullet going right now because I haven't got a haircut in freaking 5 weeks. So I was thinking about that thing. I go, Prashant, are you growing like an achy breaky heart mullet going? What's going on with you? So if you're making fun of my bald spot showing a glare or the hair in the back, it is what it is.
We don't want to see that mullet.
Right. And then the other side, on the sell side, you want your house to be move-in ready. You want it to look move-in ready at least. So cleaning's not going to hurt you. Curb appeal outside stuff's is going to help you. And that's basically just...
And declutter, like we had talked about before in the past. Declutter, for sure.
If you declutter and you want to get rid of your stuff, I have a young lady, actually in my family, who sells stuff on eBay. She contacted me. She goes, cousin, next time you want to declutter anything or purge anything, send me a Snapchat. I will come pick the stuff up. So if you got stuff that's still okay for somebody to use and you want to try to get some dough for it, my cousin Alex, she is happening on that stuff. She sold a scuba, like a scuba suit. It looked like a deep sea diver's suit. Yeah. I was like, what is that all about? So that's a funny story.
Where does she sell it? Where does she sell it?
eBay. She sells it on eBay.
Okay.
Like, she's wicked on that stuff. Okay. She's a hustler, man. She makes it happen.
Okay.
So yeah. So awesome. If you're gonna purge, like we've been telling you to do, definitely. If you got something you want to try to get some coin for, let us know. We'll get happy with that too. So.
Okay.
Yeah. But be ready. That's the biggest thing. So far we told you, to update the spirit of the times. We let you know this might be your time for an investor, or if you get in a convention loan. City Spotlight was Garden City, and we told you be ready because I'm telling you, as soon as this thing lifts, and again, I don't know when, as soon as this thing lifts, it's going to be like dog races. It's going to be like that.
Yeah,
it's going to be like that. Yeah. So the last topic that we want to talk about tonight is, and I know last week we talked about first responders and things like that, and essential workers. So again, if you know essential workers, put it in the comments. I put a Facebook post up, and this is going to be something we're going to talk about too, about, if you know an essential worker, put in a comment to me. And I try to say thank you to every single one of them the other day. And I swear to God, I think
When you're out at stores or things like that?
no. Like when I was on Facebook messing around,
Okay.
I put a comment, and I said it's not a stupid question. I just, do you know an essential worker? And people would just come out of the woodwork with essential worker stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing we can learn from this thing is to be thankful.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So I want to talk about stuff you can do for essential workers. Okay, I've seen a bazillion. I'm sure you have too, of social media posts thanking them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, it's like it warms your heart because it makes you realize who's important. It's not it's not as much our basketball players and football players these days or anything or celebrities. It's people that are saving our tail. You know what I mean? It's that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, little camera problem. That's what happens when you talk outside. That's what happens when you talk outside. So that's one. So that's one of them. Another thing you can do, and I'm not saying this is, I'm trying to follow the law, okay? But every morning I do what I in my own head think of as Hopeful Monday, okay? I take something, I've done it the last 2 weeks. I pick 3 people that I know and that I care about, and at least one essential worker, and I just drop something off for them. You heard 2 weeks ago about the sketchy cookies. Like, I mean, that the
squirrels
that
like.
the squirrels
What
hate.
the
You heard about
squirrels
the sketchy cookies I left for my sister and my
Squirrels
family.
are essential,
so
right?
I did, and again, it's monetary, which is hard for some people, right? But I did gift cards for 3 folks, and one of them was an essential worker, just because you want people to know you care about them. I've seen stuff like drive-by birthdays where people are honking all over crazy and stuff like that. I've seen people gather on the lawn like separately. I've seen like people decorate lawns and stuff like that. That's all awesome stuff. I mean, that's just cool stuff, And you got to think of ways to appreciate essential folks. I mean, like I got a couple folks that deliver the mail that I talk to every morning. Like the fact the mail gets where it has to get every day is awesome,
Yeah.
So do this for us. As we're talking about this, throw out ways that you can help essential workers, or at least let them know that we care. Like I said, social media is one. Little gifts is 2. Heck, talking to people on the phone. And I sort of I've talked to my sister more in the last 4 weeks than I think I did when we lived together when we were kids. Here's why. Here's what she does. I love my sister. She gets up. She knows I get up early. So she drives to work at Wyandotte Hospital. She's an occupational therapist, okay? So every day when she's driving to work, almost every day, she calls me and talks to me the whole ride to work.
Yeah.
Like I told you, I think one of the big things from this thing is going to be communicating more and talking to people more. Like I send out video messages to people all the time. Hey, how you doing? You doing okay? Because it's what you're going to do.
I think we're all starting to realize how important that human contact is with others. When you don't have it, or you can't do it anytime you want, you miss it. You'll remember that. This is something that I think a lot of us will remember for a long time on what we're going through.
Well, I mean, because it's universal. That's not all universal, but like everybody in the whole world, you can say, hey, what happened to you during COVID-19? I got the young lady that I talk to from Italy every day or so. She gives me the Italy update, So, but I want to tell you something. I want to share with you a business owner that I know that did something that I was shocked. I was really shocked. And again, folks, as you're watching, do this in the comments. Just little things that that people have done for essential workers. Throw it in the comments for us, because we'd like to be able to share with people more things you can do for essential workers. Because I see a lot of people joining late. That's what we're doing. We're talking about things for essential workers. I know it's a real estate show, but it's important. Community is important. So I got a knock on the door about 12 noon yesterday. Okay, and I'm like, who's knocking at my door? I'm like confused, you know what I mean? Because it's social distancing and all that. Like, nobody better be coming over to hang out. So I go to the door and I open it up, and it was food, like restaurant food.
Yeah.
So my friend, and I go to his restaurant a lot, Sam Hamoud, who owns Sahara on Michigan Avenue, he dropped food off. He said had food delivered to myself and to my mom. I mean, think about that. He even had it delivered to her when she was in a hospital. So even restaurant owners are connecting with people more, and caring and showing how they care more. So I want to give a big shout out to Sam Hamoud over at Sahara on Michigan Avenue. The guy's awesome.
What an awesome thing to do.
Right. So, I mean, like I saw people were doing like honk buys at different hospitals and stuff.
Yeah.
It just reminds you what's important. People are important. In our job, it's about money. It's about houses and all that stuff. But it's about people. Like I talk every day with realtors in the morning, and we always talk, how many people did you talk to today? You know, because you want to know. You know what I mean?
It's important.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Fortunately, we get to do this job.
Yeah, we sure do. Don, I tell you what, we might wrap it up. I don't know if it's a couple minutes early or not, but we might wrap it up now. So, guys, check with us next week. We're going to be here. I probably will never wear a coat in the history of life. Okay, Don will go back to shirt and tie. I'll get him in a suit pretty soon. Don't you worry about that suit coat at least. All right, but we're not gonna stop doing this. We're gonna do this every Wednesday, 7 o'clock, until one of us is not here anymore.
Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely, we appreciate your time.
We do this for you.
If you have any questions, put in the comments or reach out to one of us on Facebook, and we'll do everything we can to help you.
Stay safe.
Stay safe, absolutely. I'm Scott.
I'm Don.
And we're talking real estate.